Admiral Jihoon Park stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the massive alien ships appear in Earth's orbit. The screens showed 12 enormous vessels, each one larger than any human city. They had arrived without warning, their technology so advanced that Earth's defense systems had not even detected them approaching. "Sir, they're sending a message," reported Captain Minho Kim from his station. His voice was steady, but Jihoon could see the fear in the younger man's eyes. "Put it through," Jihoon ordered. The main screen filled with the image of a creature that looked like living crystal. Its voice echoed through the bridge, speaking perfect English despite being from another world. "Humans of Earth," the alien said. "We are the Galactic Hegemony. We have ruled this galaxy for 50,000 years. We have conquered or destroyed 200 civilizations. Today, we offer you a choice." Dr. Yuna Lee, the ship's xenobiologist, stepped forward. She had spent her entire career studying alien life, but had never seen anything like this creature before. "You will surrender your independence," the crystal being continued. "You will become vassals of the hegemony. Your technology, your resources, your people will serve us. In return, we will allow your species to survive." The alien paused, and another creature appeared on screen. This one looked like pure energy, shifting and glowing with inner light. "If you refuse," the energy being said, "we will destroy every human settlement in this galaxy. Your homeworld will burn. Your colonies will be reduced to ash. Your species will be extinct within one solar rotation of your planet." Jihoon felt his hands clench into fists. Around him, his crew waited for his response. "You have 30 of your days to decide," the crystal being said. "We will wait in orbit. Choose wisely." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. Commander Taehyung Choi, the ship's intelligence officer, broke the quiet. "Sir, our scans show their technology is centuries ahead of ours. Their smallest ship could destroy our entire fleet." "I know," Jihoon said quietly. He turned to face his crew. "But that doesn't mean we should give up without a fight." Captain Minho Kim looked confused. "Sir, with respect, how can we fight something like that? They've destroyed 200 civilizations. They have weapons we can't even understand." Dr. Yuna Lee spoke up. "Actually, there might be something." She pulled up data on her tablet. "I've been studying the recordings of their message. These beings, they're very old, very set in their ways. They expect every species to react the same way." "What do you mean?" Jihoon asked. "They expect fear, then negotiation, then surrender," Yuna explained. "It's probably worked for them for thousands of years, but humans, we don't always do what's expected." Taehyung nodded slowly. "She's right, sir. In all our history, whenever someone told us we couldn't do something, we found a way to do it anyway." The next few days were chaos on Earth. The world. Leaders held emergency meetings. Most wanted to surrender immediately. The alien ships in orbit made it clear that resistance was useless, but not everyone agreed. Jihoon met secretly with General Hyun-Soo Nam, commander of the Mars Colonial Defense Force. They had served together in the Titan Wars, fighting pirates and rebels in the outer system. "The politicians want to give up," Hyun-Soo said over the encrypted communication, "but my people on Mars, they're ready to fight." "Same with the asteroid miners," added Captain Jisoo Kang, joining the call from her ship near Ceres. "We've been fighting the void for generations. We're not afraid of some fancy aliens." Engineer Seokjin Han appeared on another screen. He worked in the secret research facilities on Europa. "I've been looking at the scans of their ships. Their technology is advanced, yes, but it's also very standardized. They probably haven't had to innovate for centuries." Dr. Bora Yang, a quantum physicist, joined the conversation. "We've been working on some experimental technologies, things that might give us an edge. They're dangerous, untested, but there's something the aliens won't expect," Jihoon finished. Over the next 2 weeks, while Earth's governments debated surrender, Jihoon and his allies made their own plans. They couldn't match the aliens' raw power, but they could be unpredictable. The plan was simple in concept, impossible in execution. Instead of defending Earth and waiting for the aliens to attack, they would strike first. They would hit all 12 alien homeworlds at the same time. It's suicide, Minho said, when Jihoon explained the plan. Maybe, Jihoon agreed, but it's better than slavery. 3 days before the deadline, Earth's unified government made their decision. They would surrender. The president announced it to the world, asking the aliens for mercy. But Jihoon had already put his own plan into motion. Hidden bases throughout the solar system activated. Ships that had been registered as destroyed or missing suddenly appeared on sensors. Weapons that officially didn't exist were loaded onto fighters and bombers. Admiral, Taehyung reported, all units are ready. Mars Command is with us. The asteroid miners are with us. Even some of the Earth fleet is refusing to surrender. Jihoon stood on his bridge one last time, looking at Earth through the view screen. His home world was beautiful, blue and white against the black of space. Send a message to the alien fleet, he ordered. Minho looked surprised. What should I tell them, sir? Jihoon smiled grimly. Tell them that the government of Earth has chosen to surrender. But tell them that Admiral Jihoon Park and the Free Human Fleet reject their ultimatum. Sir, they'll destroy Earth, Minho warned. No, Jihoon said. They won't have time. The message was sent. Moments later, the crystal being appeared on screen again, looking puzzled. Your government has agreed to surrender. Why do you continue to resist? Because we're human, Jihoon said simply, and humans don't bow to anyone. The alien's crystalline face showed what might have been confusion. You cannot win. We have conquered 200 civilizations. Then we'll be the first to make you regret it, Jihoon replied. He turned to his crew. All ships, execute Protocol 7. Target the alien fleet. Show them what humans do when someone threatens our home. The Free Human Fleet opened fire. Their weapons were primitive compared to alien technology, but they caught the hegemony ships by surprise. For the first time in 50,000 years, someone had shot first. The aliens recovered quickly, their shields absorbing most of the damage. But something had changed. The crystal being's voice sounded different when it spoke again. Impossible. No vassal species attacks the hegemony. We're not vassals, Jihoon said. We're free, and we intend to stay that way. Around Earth, the battle began. Human ships dove at the alien vessels like angry wasps, too small and fast for the massive weapons to track easily. Some were destroyed, their crews dying in bursts of light, but others got through. All ships withdraw to Rally Point Alpha, Jihoon ordered as the first phase of the battle ended. Time to show these aliens what a real war looks like. As his ship jumped to hyperspace, Jihoon heard the alien commander's voice one last time. You have doomed your species. We will hunt you across the galaxy. Good, Jihoon said to the empty screen. Come and find us. We'll be waiting. The war for humanity's freedom had begun. It would be fought not with superior technology or overwhelming force, but with something the galactic hegemony had never encountered before. The stubborn refusal of humans to accept defeat. Behind them, Earth remained free, protected by its government's surrender, but defended by those who chose to fight. Ahead lay the unknown and humanity's greatest test. The stars had demanded they bow. Humanity's answer was war. 3 months had passed since Admiral Jihoon Park declared war on the galactic hegemony. The Free Human Fleet now operated from hidden bases scattered across the outer solar system, while Earth remained under alien occupation. Jihoon stood in the command center of Titan Base, built deep inside Saturn's largest moon. The facility had been constructed in secret over the past decade, originally intended as a refuge in case of civil war. Now it served as humanity's last hope. Report, Jihoon said as General Hyun-Soo Nam approached. The good news is, we're still alive, Hyun-Soo said with a tired smile. The bad news is everything else. Captain Jisoo Kang looked up from her tactical display. We've lost 12 ships in the last month. The aliens are adapting to our hit-and-run tactics. What about our intelligence gathering? Jihoon asked Commander Taehyung Choi. Taehyung pulled up a holographic display showing the galaxy. Red dots marked alien homeworlds, yellow showed their military bases, and blue indicated human positions. This is what we're up against, Taehyung said. 12 species, each ruling multiple star systems. The Vorthok Empire controls the crystal worlds in the galactic center. The Nexari collective dominates the energy-rich nebula regions. Each species has technology we can barely understand. Engineer Seokjin Han stepped forward, carrying a small device. But we've learned something important. Remember the alien ship Captain Minho captured last week? Ji-hoon nodded. It had been humanity's first major victory, though it cost them 3 ships to capture one small alien scout. I've been studying their technology, Seokjin continued. Their power source isn't what we expected. It's not fusion or antimatter. It's these. He held up a crystal fragment, no larger than his thumb. Even in the dim light of the command center, it glowed with inner fire. They call them Dominion crystals, Dr. Bora Yang explained, joining the group. Each one is artificially created, and they seem to amplify the natural abilities of whoever uses them. How do they work? Ji-hoon asked. That's the strange part, Bora said. The crystals don't just provide power. They seem to enhance the mental abilities of the alien species. Their ships respond to thought as much as to physical controls. Dr. Yuna Lee had been studying the captured alien crew. The prisoners are interesting. When separated from their ship's crystal matrix, they become much less impressive. Still intelligent, but not the godlike beings we faced in battle. Seokjin nodded. The crystals are the key to everything. Their weapons, their shields, their faster-than-light travel. Without them, the hegemony is just a collection of moderately advanced species. So we destroy the crystals, Captain Minho Kim said simply. Not that easy, Taehyung replied. Our analysis shows that each hegemony homeworld has a massive crystal matrix. These aren't just power sources. They're the foundation of their entire civilization. Ji-hoon studied the galactic map. How many crystals are we talking about? Thousands on each world, Bora said. But there's something else. The crystals seem to be connected across space. When we damaged the one in the captured ship, sensors detected a response from other crystal matrices in this sector. A network, Ji-hoon realized. Exactly. If we could disrupt that network, the entire hegemony would lose their technological advantage, Hyun-soo finished. Captain Jisoo Kang shook her head. You're talking about attacking 12 heavily defended homeworlds simultaneously. We have maybe 50 ships left. They have thousands. Numbers don't matter if we can hit the right targets, Ji-hoon said. What would it take? Seokjin and Bora exchanged glances. We've been working on something, Seokjin said carefully. It's dangerous, possibly suicidal. Most of our plans are, Minho observed. Bora activated another holographic display. We call it quantum disruption. If we can get close enough to a crystal matrix, we can introduce a resonance pattern that will cause a cascade failure. Close enough means what? Ji-hoon asked. Physical contact, Seokjin said. Someone has to place the device directly against the main crystal. The command center fell silent. Everyone understood what that meant. Suicide mission, Hyun-soo said. Quietly. 12 suicide missions, Taehyung corrected. Ji-hoon looked around at his officers. These men and women had followed him into rebellion against impossible odds. Now he was asking them to die for a plan that might not even work. There's something else, Yuna said. The captured aliens have been talking. Not interrogation, they seem almost eager to share information once they're away from their crystals. What kind of information? The hegemony isn't as united as they pretend. Some species joined willingly for the power. Others were conquered and forced to serve. There are resistance movements on several worlds. Resistance we could work with? Minho asked. Maybe, but we'd have to reach them first. Over the next few weeks, the plan took shape. It was insane, desperate, and had almost no chance of success. They would split their remaining fleet into 12 attack groups. Each group would target one hegemony homeworld, fight through the defenses, and plant a quantum disruption device on the main crystal matrix. The timing had to be perfect. If even one attack failed to reach its target, the other crystal matrices would adapt, making future attacks impossible. We'll have one chance, Ji-hoon told the assembled fleet commanders. If we fail, humanity becomes extinct. If we succeed, we free the entire galaxy, Jisoo finished. Training began. Immediately, human crews practiced assault tactics against simulated alien defenses. Engineers worked around the clock to build 12 quantum disruption devices. Intelligence officers studied everything they knew about hegemony worlds. Captain Woo Jin Lee, a submarine warfare specialist, developed new tactics based on ocean combat. Space is three-dimensional like the ocean, he explained. We approach from below their sensor grid, use asteroids and debris for cover. Colonel Daeun Shin trained. Assault teams for ground combat. Once we're on their worlds, we fight like we're taking a beach. Fast, hard, and no retreat. Dr. Kyung-soo worked on biological weapons. Different species, different vulnerabilities, he said. What kills a crystal being won't affect an energy creature. As preparations continued, more intelligence came. And Commander Nari Park, Ji-hoon's daughter, led deep space reconnaissance missions that revealed the true scope of hegemony power. They have patrol fleets in every system, she reported. Automated defense platforms around every major world. But there are gaps in their coverage. What kind of gaps? Ji-hoon asked. They're so confident in their superiority that they don't guard against stealth approaches. Their sensors are designed to detect large fleets, not small infiltration teams. This changed everything. Instead of massive frontal assaults, they would use small elite teams to penetrate hegemony defenses. 12 teams, 12 targets, Ji-hoon said. Each team gets one ship, one disruption device, and whatever crew they need. What about support? Hyun-soo asked. There won't be any. Each team is on their own once they enter hyperspace. The volunteers stepped forward immediately. Every officer wanted to lead a team. Every crew member wanted to be part of the mission. In the end, Ji-hoon had to turn away more volunteers than he could use. Why are you doing this? He asked Captain Min-ho Kim as they reviewed the final mission assignments. Because someone has to, Min-ho replied. And because you taught us that humans don't bow. 1 week before the mission launch, they received unexpected news. The resistance movements Yuna had mentioned were real, and they had sent a message. Other species want to help, Tae-hyung reported. The Aquatic Dominion has rebel cells. The Synthetic Collective has AIs that reject hegemony control. Even some of the Vorthak crystal beings want freedom. Can we trust them? Ji-hoon asked. Do we have a choice? The night before launch, Ji-hoon walked through Titan Base one last time. In the hangar bays, crews made final preparations on their ships. In the workshops, engineers completed the last disruption devices. In the barracks, soldiers checked their weapons and said quiet goodbyes. He found Dr. Yuna Lee in her laboratory, still studying alien technology. Any last-minute discoveries? He asked. Just one, she said, holding up a crystal fragment. I've been wondering why the hegemony uses artificial crystals when natural ones exist. I think I know now. Why? Control. The artificial crystals don't just enhance abilities. They influence thoughts. Species that use them for too long become dependent, lose their creativity, their ability to think in new ways. And humans? We're too chaotic. The crystals enhance our abilities but can't control our minds. That's probably why the hegemony wanted us as vassals instead of full members. Ji-hoon smiled grimly. Our chaos is our strength. Always has been. The next morning, 12 ships launched from hidden bases throughout the solar system. Each carried a small crew, a quantum disruption device, and humanity's desperate hope for freedom. Admiral Ji-hoon Park watched them go from Titan Base's command center. Somewhere among those ships was his daughter Nari, leading the assault on the Nexari Collective homeworld. Captain Min-ho Kim commanded the attack on the Vorthak Empire's crystal world. Good hunting, Ji-hoon whispered as the ships entered hyperspace. The impossible plan had begun. 6 months after the impossible plan began, the galaxy was burning. What started as 12 desperate suicide missions had grown into the largest war the Milky Way had seen in 50,000 years. Captain Min-ho Kim stood on the bridge of his battered ship, the Defiance, as it limped away from the Vorthak crystal world of Zephyria. Half his crew was dead, his ship was barely holding together, but they had succeeded. The planet's main crystal matrix lay in ruins, and with it, the Vorthak Empire's control over 3-star systems. Sir, we're receiving communications from the other strike teams, reported his communications officer. How many made it? Min-ho asked, dreading the answer. 7 teams reached their targets. 5 succeeded in destroying the crystal matrices. The Aquatic Dominion and the Metal Confederation have fallen. 3 more hegemony species have lost their homeworlds. Minho felt a mixture of grief and triumph. 7 crews had died, but they had wounded the hegemony more severely than anyone thought possible. What about the other worlds? He asked. That's where it gets interesting, sir. The surviving teams report massive uprisings on the worlds they attacked. Local species are rebelling against hegemony control. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, Colonel Daeun Shin was learning firsthand why the hegemony considered humans dangerous. Her Marine battalion had been fighting on the surface of Korath Prime for 3 weeks, supporting local rebels against the remaining hegemony forces. These humans fight like demons, one of the rebel leaders told her through a translator. The being looked like a large insect with 6 arms and glowing eyes. The hegemony garrison fled after seeing what you did to their reinforcements. Daeun wiped alien blood from her combat knife. Human soldiers had adapted to fighting in the thick, poisonous atmosphere of Korath Prime by modifying their armor and tactics. They moved through the toxic swamps like ghosts, striking at enemy positions and disappearing before the aliens could respond. We fight to win, Daeun said simply. The hegemony never learned how to do that. Back in the Sol system, Admiral Jihoon Park was coordinating the expanding war from his hidden base. Reports flooded in from across the galaxy as humanity's example inspired others to resist. The rebellion is spreading faster than we expected, Commander Tae-hyung Choi reported. 17 worlds have declared independence from the hegemony. 43 more are in open revolt. What's our current strength? Jihoon asked. We've lost 38 ships, but we've captured or stolen 47 alien vessels. Our crews are learning to operate hegemony technology. Captain Woo Jin Lee had become an expert at stealing enemy ships. His submarine tactics worked perfectly in the 3-dimensional battlefield of space. The aliens don't understand stealth, he explained to Jihoon during a strategy meeting. They rely on their technology so much that they've forgotten how to hide. Show me, Jihoon said. Woo Jin activated a tactical display. Traditional space warfare is about big fleets and massive firepower. But look what happens when we attack like submarines. The display showed human ships approaching a hegemony convoy. Instead of the expected frontal assault, the human vessels came from below, using a nearby planet's gravity well to mask their approach. We hit them where they don't expect it. Take what we need and vanish before they can respond, Woo Jin continued. In the past month, we've captured enough supplies to keep the rebellion going for years. Dr. Kyung-Soo Oh had been developing new weapons specifically designed to fight alien biology. Each hegemony species has different weaknesses, he explained to a group of Marine commanders. The crystal beings are vulnerable to sonic disruption. The energy creatures can be contained with electromagnetic fields. What about the biological species? Asked Colonel Daeun Shin via communication link from Korath Prime. Poison, disease, parasites, Kyung-Soo said matter-of-factly. Things that the hegemony considers barbaric and uncivilized. Good, Daeun replied. Let them think we're barbarians. It makes them afraid. Fear was indeed spreading through hegemony. Territory. For the first time in millennia, the ruling species were experiencing something they had almost forgotten. The possibility of defeat. Commander Nari Park had survived her mission to the Nexari collective homeworld and was now leading deep space reconnaissance missions. Her reports painted a picture of an empire in chaos. The Hegemony Council is meeting constantly, she reported to her father. Our intelligence sources say they're arguing about how to respond to us. Some want to negotiate, others want to destroy every human world they can find. What do you think? They'll do? Jihoon asked. They'll escalate. It's the only response they know. Nari was right. Within days, hegemony fleets began attacking human colonies with weapons that had never been used before. Entire moons were reduced to dust. Space stations simply ceased to exist. The hegemony was demonstrating the power they had held in reserve for 50,000 years. The attack on New Sol Colony was the worst. Captain Jisoo Kang had been leading the defense when the hegemony dreadnought appeared in system. Sir, it's massive, her tactical officer reported. Larger than anything we've seen before. How large? Jisoo asked. It's bigger than our entire fleet combined. The battle lasted 6 hours. Human ships swarmed around the dreadnought like angry insects, but their weapons barely scratched its shields. When the alien ship fired its main weapon, New Sol Colony simply vanished, along with 3 million people. But the colonists didn't die for nothing. Captain Jisu's ships had gathered detailed sensor data on the dreadnought's capabilities. More importantly, they had learned something crucial about hegemony psychology. "They're losing their minds," Jisu reported to Admiral Park after the battle. "The alien crew was panicking when our ships got close. They've never had to fight an enemy that wouldn't stay at long range." Engineer Seokjin Han was working on solutions to the hegemony's new weapons. "Their dreadnoughts are powerful, but they're designed to fight other conventional fleets," he explained. "They can't handle swarm tactics." "What do you mean?" Jihoon asked. "Send 100 small ships against one dreadnought. It can only target a few at a time. The rest get through and board it." "Boarding actions against ships that size?" General Hyun-Soo Nam looked skeptical. "Human marines against alien crew that's never experienced ground combat," Seokjin replied. "I like our odds." The strategy was tested 2 weeks later when another hegemony dreadnought attacked the mining facilities at Proxima Centauri. This time, humanity was ready. Captain Unji Seo led the assault with 50 converted mining ships, each one packed with marines and cutting equipment. The dreadnought's weapons destroyed half the attacking vessels, but the survivors reached its hull. What followed was the galaxy's first example of humans fighting inside an alien capital ship. The hegemony crew had never experienced boarding actions. Their ship was designed like a city with wide corridors and open spaces, perfect for human urban warfare tactics. "Hull breach on decks 7 through 12, reported Sergeant Jinwoo Park as his team cut through the ship's outer armor. "Moving to secure engineering." The alien crew tried to resist, but they were unprepared for close-quarters combat. Humans moved through the ship like a plague, securing vital systems and capturing key personnel. "Bridge secured," Yunji reported 6 hours after the assault began. "We have prisoners, including what looks like a hegemony admiral." The captured dreadnought became humanity's flagship. More importantly, its databanks contained intelligence about hegemony defenses throughout the galaxy. Dr. Sung-Hoon Kim had been studying the captured aliens and made a disturbing discovery. "The Dominion crystals do more than enhance abilities," he told Admiral Park. "They're actually changing the biology of species that use them." "How?" Jihoon asked. "The crystals suppress certain genetic expressions, things like aggression, creativity, independent thinking. Species that use the crystals for generations become dependent on them. Living slaves," Jihoon realized. "Exactly. But humans seem to be immune. Our chaotic nature resists the crystal's influence." This discovery changed everything. The war wasn't just about human freedom. It was about liberating the entire galaxy. From a form of technological slavery, Ambassador Haeun Yu had been working with the growing Rebel Alliance. "We now have formal alliances with 47 species," she reported. "Some of them are sharing technology with us." "What kind of technology?" Jihoon asked. "The synthetic beings have given us improved computer systems. The aquatic species have shared advanced materials science. Most importantly, some former hegemony species are teaching us how to use captured crystal technology. Without being enslaved by it? Our immunity to the crystal's mental effects means we can use their technology without losing our humanity." The tide of war was slowly turning. What had begun as a desperate last stand had become a galaxy-wide revolution. But the hegemony still had resources that humanity couldn't match. "Intelligence reports indicate they're preparing something new," Commander Tae-Hyung Choi warned during a strategy meeting. "Fleet movements suggest they're consolidating forces for a major offensive." "Against Earth?" Jihoon asked. "Unknown. But, whatever they're planning, it's big." Captain Minji Ryu, who had taken command of the captured dreadnought, was monitoring hegemony communications. "They're scared," she reported. "Their high command is talking about final measures and AXEPI." The attack on the tidal Dominion homeworld of Aquanus Prime was supposed to be impossible. The planet was covered entirely by ocean, with depths reaching 20 kilometers. Hegemony defenses included underwater cities protected by energy barriers that could stop any known weapon. Captain Yunji Seo stood on the bridge of her modified assault ship, watching the blue-green world grow larger on the view screen. Her crew had trained for months in underwater combat, but nothing could truly prepare them for fighting in an alien ocean. "Defensive platforms coming online," reported her tactical officer. They're targeting us with some kind of sonic weapon. The ship shuddered as invisible sound waves tried to tear it apart. Human engineering held, but barely. "Take us down into the atmosphere," Yunji ordered. "Let's see how well their weapons work underwater." It was a desperate gamble. No human ship had ever attempted atmospheric entry into an ocean world, but desperation had become humanity's greatest weapon. The ship plunged into Aquanus Prime's upper atmosphere like a falling star. Heat shields glowed white-hot as they cut through alien air thick with moisture and strange gases. Then they hit the ocean surface. "Hull holding," the engineering officer reported. "Pressure seals are intact." "Good. Take us deep. Find their main city." As they descended through the alien ocean, Yunji marveled at the strange life forms swimming past their viewports. Creatures that looked like living jewels drifted through forests of coral that pulsed with bioluminescent light. "Contact," the sonar operator announced. "Massive structure bearing 270. It's huge, Captain." The tidal dominion's capital city appeared on their screens like something from a dream. Crystalline spires twisted upward through the water, connected by tubes of flowing energy. Schools of aquatic aliens moved between the structures like colorful clouds. "There," Yunji pointed to the largest spire. "That's where their Dominion crystal will be." "How do we get through their defenses?" asked Sergeant Jinwoo Park, who had volunteered for another impossible mission. "We don't go through them," Yunji said with a grim smile. "We go under them." The plan was typically human in its audacity. Instead of attacking the city's heavily defended entrances, they would land on the ocean floor below it and tunnel upward through the seafloor itself. "Beginning descent to ocean floor," the pilot reported. "Depth 23 kilometers and counting." The pressure at such depths would have crushed any normal submarine, but human engineers had reinforced their ship with captured alien materials. Even so, the hull creaked ominously as they descended. "Contact with ocean floor," the pilot announced. "Setting down now." Outside, the ocean floor was a landscape of impossible beauty. Thermal vents created pillars of superheated water that supported entire ecosystems. Creatures that had never seen sunlight moved through gardens of mineral formations that sparkled like stars. "Deploy the mining equipment," Yunji ordered. Human miners had been experts at tunneling through difficult terrain long before they reached the stars. Now they adapted their skills to boring through an alien seafloor while avoiding detection by the city above. "Tunnel complete," reported the mining team leader 6 hours later. "We're directly under their main crystal chamber." "Defensive systems?" Yunji asked. "Minimal. They never expected anyone to attack from below." Sergeant Jinwoo led the assault team through the tunnel. They emerged into a chamber filled with water, but somehow allowing them to breathe. The Dominion crystal hung in the center of the room like a captured star, pulsing with power that made the water itself glow. "It's beautiful," one of the Marines whispered. "It's slavery," Jinwoo replied, setting the quantum disruption device. "Stand back." The device activated with a sound like breaking glass. The Dominion crystal began to crack, its light flickering. Throughout the city, emergency alarms began to wail. "Aquatic defenders incoming," Yunji's tactical officer reported from the ship. They looked confused. The aliens had never faced an attack from below. Their defense plans assumed enemies would come from space or from the ocean surface. Humans attacking through the seafloor was beyond their imagination. "Crystal destabilizing," Dr. Sung-Hoon Kim reported from his monitoring station. "Cascade failure in 3 minutes." The tidal Dominion guards finally reached the crystal chamber, but it was too late. The quantum disruption had already begun its work. The massive crystal cracked with sounds like thunder, its light dimming. "Fall back to the ship," Yunji ordered. As the human team retreated through their tunnel, the Dominion crystal exploded. The blast destroyed the city's power grid and left thousands of aquatic aliens floating in confusion as their technological systems failed. But something unexpected happened. Instead of fighting the humans, many of the aliens began helping them. "Captain," reported Dr. Yuna Lee, who had been monitoring alien communications, "we're receiving signals from the local population. They're thanking us." Thanking us? The Dominion crystal wasn't just a power source. It was controlling their minds. With it destroyed, they're free to think for themselves for the first time in generations. This discovery changed everything. About humanity's war against the hegemony, they weren't just fighting for human freedom. They were liberating enslaved species throughout the galaxy. The former tidal Dominion aliens, who called themselves the Tithe, became humanity's first major alien allies. Their knowledge of ocean warfare and biotechnology proved invaluable. "We remember what we were before the crystals," their leader told Admiral Jihoon Park through a translation device. "We were explorers, scientists, artists. The crystals made us into servants." "Will you help us free others?" Jihoon asked. "We will fight alongside humans until every crystal is destroyed." Meanwhile, engineer Seokjin Han was making breakthrough discoveries by studying the captured Dominion crystal fragments. "The crystals aren't just technology," he explained to the assembled command staff. "They're alive in a way. They're artificial life forms designed to parasitically control other species." "Created by whom?" General Hyun-Soo Nam asked. "Unknown. But whoever made them has been dead for a very long time. The hegemony found the crystals and became addicted to their power." Dr. Bora Yang had been working on weaponizing this discovery. "If the crystals are alive, they can be killed. I've been developing a virus that specifically targets their neural pathways." "A virus that attacks crystals?" Captain Minho Kim sounded skeptical. "The crystals use quantum entanglement to communicate across space. If we can introduce a corrupted signal into their network, we could kill every crystal in the galaxy," Jihoon realized. "In theory. But we'd need access to a major crystal nexus to introduce the virus." Commander Nari Park had been studying hegemony star charts captured from their raid on the tidal Dominion. "I think I know where to find one," she said, activating a holographic display. The image showed the galactic center, where massive crystal structures orbited around the supermassive black hole at the galaxy's heart. "Nexus Prime," Nari explained. "It's the hegemony's capital existing in folded space-time. Every crystal in the galaxy is connected to the ones there." "How do we reach it?" Captain Woo Jin Lee asked. "That's the problem. It exists in a parallel dimension. The only way to reach it is through dimensional gates controlled by the hegemony. The solution came from an unexpected source. The synthetic, collective artificial intelligences that had rebelled against their hegemony creators contacted Admiral Park with an offer. "We have studied dimensional technology for centuries," their representative explained through a holographic projection. "We can build a dimensional gate, but we need specific materials only found on hegemony worlds." "What kind of materials?" Jihoon asked. "Crystallized space-time. Very rare, very dangerous to obtain." Captain Jisoo Kang volunteered to lead the mission to acquire the materials. Her squadron of modified fighters would have to penetrate deep into hegemony territory and steal the crystallized space-time from their most heavily defended facilities. "It's a suicide mission," General Hyun-Soo Nam warned. "They all are," Jisoo replied. "But this one might save the galaxy." The raid on the hegemony material storage facility at Epsilon Eridani was a masterpiece of human tactics. Jisoo's fighters approached the facility disguised as space debris using stealth technology adapted from submarine warfare. "Defensive grid. Mapping complete," her tactical officer reported. 47 automated weapon platforms, 12 patrol ships." "Weak points?" Jisoo asked. "The platforms are designed to stop large fleets. They might not detect individual fighters." "Good. All units go dark. Silent running until we're inside their perimeter." The human fighters drifted through the defensive grid like ghosts. Hegemony sensors, calibrated to detect massive alien dreadnoughts, couldn't track the small, stealthy human ships. "Facility. In sight," Jisoo whispered into her communicator. "Beginning final approach." The storage facility was a crystalline structure the size of a small moon, orbiting a dead star. Inside, according to intelligence reports, were samples of every exotic material the hegemony had discovered in 50,000 years of conquest. "Docking successful," reported the team leader as they attached to the facility's hull. Beginning infiltration. Human commandos moved through the alien facility like shadows. The hegemony guards had never faced stealth tactics before. Their technology was so advanced that they had forgotten how to hide from enemies who could. The galaxy was dying. From the rim worlds to the galactic center, entire star systems burned as the hegemony unleashed weapons that had been forbidden for 50,000 years. But for every world they destroyed, 10 more rose in rebellion. Fleet. Admiral Siwon Young stood in the command center of the massive rebel battleship Liberation, watching reports flood in from across the galaxy. What had begun as humanity's desperate gamble had become the largest war in galactic history. Status. Report, he ordered. We've lost contact with 47 rebel systems, reported his communications officer. The hegemony is using planet killers now. Entire worlds are being sterilized. And our forces? Growing. Every time they destroy a world, 3 more systems. Declare independence. The Zephyrian Alliance has joined us. The Mechanical Collective is providing ships. Even some crystal beings are fighting against their own kind. Captain Minji Ryu looked up from her tactical display. Admiral, we're receiving priority signals from the Crystalline Dominion front. Put it through. The holographic image of General Young Ho Lim appeared, his uniform torn and bloodied. Behind him, the sky glowed with the light of burning crystal spires. Admiral, we've taken the outer worlds of the Crystalline Dominion, but they've activated something we've never seen before. They're calling it the Eternal Guard. What is it? Siwon asked. Mechanical gods, sir. Machines the size of moons, with weapons that can crack planets. They've been sleeping for millions of years, but the crystals woke them up. The transmission cut out as explosions lit up the background. Moments later, Dr. Cheung-an appeared on another channel, her face pale with shock. Admiral, I'm monitoring the quantum disruption cascade from the crystalline worlds. The Eternal Guard machines aren't just weapons. They're using some kind of reality warping technology. They're actually changing the laws of physics in local space. Can we fight them? Siwon asked. I don't know. How do you fight something that can make gravity flow backward or turn energy into matter at will? Meanwhile, in the Titan system, Admiral Ji-hoon Park was coordinating the construction of humanity's dimensional gate. The massive structure hung in space like a ring of crystallized lightning, built from materials stolen from across the galaxy. Gate. Construction at 80%, reported engineer Seok Jin-han. The synthetic collective has integrated their quantum processors. We should be able to pierce the dimensional barrier to Nexus Prime. How long until it's ready? Ji-hoon asked. 12 hours for construction, another 6 for calibration. We may not have that long, Commander Tae-hyung Choi warned. Intelligence reports indicate the hegemony is moving their core fleets toward our position. Dr. Bora Yang looked up from her calculations. The crystal virus is ready. Once we reach Nexus Prime, I can introduce it into their main network, but the process will take time. How much time? At least an hour for the virus to propagate through their entire crystal matrix. An hour, Ji-hoon repeated grimly. We'll have to hold Nexus Prime for an hour against the entire hegemony fleet. Captain Minho Kim activated his communication link from the front lines. Sir, I hate to add to our problems, but we've discovered something about the hegemony's final weapon. What have you found? They're not just destroying rebel worlds, they're harvesting the life force of entire populations to power something bigger. Our captured prisoners call it the Void Engine. What does it do? Creates an expanding sphere of absolute nothingness. No matter, no energy, no space-time. Everything it touches simply ceases to exist. Ji-hoon felt a chill run down his spine. How large is this sphere? Current diameter is approximately 50 light-years and growing. At this rate, it will consume the entire galaxy within a century. The scope of the hegemony's desperation was becoming clear. Rather than lose their empire, they were prepared to destroy everything, including themselves. Sir, Nari Park reported. From her reconnaissance ship, I'm detecting massive fleet movements throughout hegemony space. They're pulling back their forces from the front lines. Pulling back? Why? Unknown, but I think they're concentrating everything for a final assault on our position. The next few hours were a race against time. Human and rebel engineers worked frantically to complete the dimensional gate while hegemony forces converged. On the Titan system, from across the galaxy, Captain Jisoo Kang led the advanced scouts, her fighters ranging far from Titan to give early warning of the approaching enemy. Contact, she reported. Hegemony fleet inbound. Numbers, Admiral. There are thousands of them. Every ship class we've ever seen, and some we haven't. How long until they reach us? Ji-hoon asked. 6 hours at current speed. The gate will be ready in 5, Seok-jin reported. But sir, we won't be able to take everyone through. The dimensional tunnel can only accommodate a small fleet. Jihoon looked at the tactical display showing the approaching hegemony armada. Thousands of ships, representing the combined military might of 12 ancient civilizations, all converging on humanity's last hope. "Signal all rebel fleets," he ordered. "Tell them to fall back to Titan. We make our stand here." What followed was the largest space battle in galactic history. Over 10,000 ships from dozens of species converged in the Titan system as humanity prepared for their final gambit. The hegemony arrived first, their vast fleet emerging from hyperspace like a wall of metal and energy. At their head was a ship larger than anything ever built. The hegemony throne, a mobile fortress that served as their capital. "Incoming transmission," reported the communications officer. "Put it through." The collective consciousness of the Hegemony Council appeared on the main screen, a shifting amalgamation of crystal, energy, and mechanical forms. "Humans," they spoke with one voice, "you have caused enough chaos. Surrender now, and we will." "Grant your species a quick extinction. Counter-offer," Jihoon replied. "Surrender your crystal matrices. Free all enslaved species, and we'll let you live in exile." The alien collective made a sound that might have been laughter. "You are surrounded by the greatest fleet ever assembled. Your rebellion ends here." "Maybe," Jihoon said, "but we're not done surprising you yet." The battle began with a massive hegemony assault on the outer rebel positions. Ancient weapons that could disintegrate matter itself clashed with human innovation and desperate courage. Captain Wu Jin Lee commanded the submarine warfare units, his ships using stealth and misdirection to strike at the enemy's supply lines. "They have so many ships they're getting in each other's way," he reported. Classic target-rich environment. General Hyun Soo Nam led the marine boarding actions, his troops using captured alien technology to fight inside enemy vessels. "The hegemony crews are panicking," he reported. "They've never faced coordinated boarding actions before. But for every enemy ship destroyed, 2 more took its place. The hegemony had brought everything they had, including the awakened Eternal Guard machines." "Reality distortions detected," Dr. Chae Young-an reported, as one of the mechanical gods entered the battle. "Local spacetime is becoming unstable." The machine was the size of a small moon, its surface covered with symbols that hurt to look at. When it fired its weapon, entire squadrons of rebel ships simply ceased to exist, erased from reality itself. "How do we fight that thing?" Captain Minji Ryu asked, as her battleship barely avoided being unmade. "We don't," Jihoon replied. "We survive. Long enough for the gate to activate." "Gate ready," Seokjin announced. "Dimensional tunnel established to Nexus Prime. All assault teams begin transit," Jihoon ordered. "Everyone else buy us time." The dimensional gate opened like a wound in space-time, revealing a swirling tunnel of impossible colors. Through it, small groups of ships began disappearing, heading for the hegemony's capital in another dimension. "Sir, the hegemony is targeting the gate," Tactical reported. "All ships, protect the gate at all costs." What followed was a desperate holding action. Rebel ships threw themselves at the hegemony fleet, sacrificing themselves to keep the dimensional tunnel open. Human fighters dove at massive alien dreadnoughts, their crews knowing they would not survive, but determined to buy a few more seconds. The Eternal Guard machine turned its reality-warping weapons on the gate itself, trying to unmake the dimensional tunnel. But human engineers had built the gate with typical human over-engineering. It was designed to survive almost anything. "Last assault team through," Seokjin reported. "Gate power at critical levels." "Shut it down," Jihoon ordered. "We've done all we can." As the dimensional gate collapsed, Admiral Jihoon Park looked at the tactical display. Of the rebel fleet that had gathered to defend Titan, less than half remained, but they had succeeded in getting strike teams through to Nexus Prime. "Admiral," Nari reported from her damaged ship, "long-range sensors are detecting something from the Galactic Center." "What is it?" "Energy signatures consistent with the crystal virus. Sir, I think they made it." In the parallel dimension containing Nexus Prime, Captain Minho Kim was leading the assault on the hegemony's capital. The city existed in folded space-time, its crystal spires reaching across multiple dimensions simultaneously. "Virus deployed," Dr. Boryang reported from her position near the main crystal matrix. "Beginning propagation through the network." Around them, The dimensional city began to shudder as the virus spread through the crystal network. For the first time in 50,000 years, the Hejimo, Nexus Prime, existed in a place where normal reality broke down. The hegemony's capital city stretched across dimensions, its crystal spires reaching into spaces that human minds could barely comprehend. Here, in the heart of their empire, the final battle for the galaxy's freedom was being fought. Captain Minho Kim crouched behind a barrier of crystallized time, watching Dr. Boryang work frantically at the main crystal matrix. Around them, the dimensional city shuddered as the virus she had introduced spread through the hegemony's network. 20 minutes until complete propagation, Bora called out over the sound of alien weapons fire. The virus is working, but they're trying to isolate infected sections of the network. Can they stop it? Minho asked, returning fire at the approaching hegemony guards. Not if we can hold them off long enough. The strike team that had made it through the dimensional gate was small, only 12 ships and their crews, but they represented the best of humanity and their rebel allies. Marines from Earth fought alongside synthetic warriors from the AI Collective. Aquatic soldiers from the former tidal Dominion worked with crystal beings who had broken free from hegemony control. Sergeant Jinwoo Park led a squad of human Marines through the twisted corridors of the dimensional city. The architecture here followed no laws of physics he understood. Stairs led up and down simultaneously. Doors opened onto empty space or rooms that were somehow larger inside than outside. "Contact front!" one of his soldiers called out. The hegemony. Defenders were unlike anything they had faced before. These were the elite of the elite, beings so enhanced by crystal technology that they barely seemed real. They moved through solid matter like ghosts and struck with weapons that could wound time itself. "Conventional weapons aren't working," Jinwoo reported. "They're phasing through our attacks." Dr. Sunghoon Kim had anticipated this problem. "Use the disruption grenades!" He called out from his position near the viral upload station. "The quantum fields will force them back into normal space-time." The disruption grenades were another example of human innovation born from desperation. They created small fields, where the laws of physics returned to normal, forcing the enhanced aliens back into a state where human weapons could affect them. "Grenades deployed!" Jinwoo called out. "All units, concentrate fire!" The battle for the crystal matrix became a desperate struggle between old power and new chaos. The hegemony defenders had the advantage of superior technology and enhancement, but the humans had something the aliens had never encountered: the absolute refusal to accept defeat. Commander Taehyung Choi was monitoring communications from the main galaxy while coordinating the assault. "Sir, Admiral Park reports the hegemony fleet is withdrawing from Titan system. They're pulling back to defend their homeworlds." "The virus is spreading that fast?" Minho asked. "Faster. Entire sectors are going dark as their crystal networks fail." But the hegemony had one final card to play. As the virus spread through their network, the collective consciousness that ruled their empire began to manifest physically within Nexus Prime. The air itself began to ripple and tear as something vast and alien pushed through from another dimension. When it finally appeared, the human strike team found themselves facing the accumulated consciousness of 12 species that had ruled the galaxy for 50 millennia. The hegemony consciousness was a thing of crystal and energy and living metal, a being so large it existed across multiple dimensions simultaneously. Its voice, when it spoke, came from everywhere at once. "Humans," it said, and the word carried the weight of eons. "You have caused enough chaos. End this futile resistance, and we will grant your species a place in our new order." Captain Minho Kim stepped forward, his weapon useless against such a being, but his courage unshaken. "The same offer you've given 200 other species. Thanks, but we'll pass." "You cannot comprehend what you are destroying," the consciousness continued. "For 50,000 years we have maintained order in this galaxy. Without us there will be chaos, war, suffering." "Maybe," Minho replied. "But it will be our chaos, our choice." Dr. Yuna Lee, who had been studying the consciousness with her xenobiological sensors, made a startling discovery. "Minho, it's afraid," she called out. "The collective consciousness, it's not just angry, it's terrified." "Terrified of what?" "Of being alone." Look at the neural patterns. This thing is made up of the combined minds of billions of beings. If the crystal network fails, it will break apart into its component parts. The hegemony consciousness recoiled as if struck. You understand nothing. We are perfection. We are order. You are parasites, Dr. Bora Yang interrupted, not looking up from her work at the crystal matrix. The virus is showing me everything. You didn't create this technology. You found it. You became addicted to it. And now you can't exist without it. 15 minutes until complete viral propagation, she continued. The crystal network is cascading failures across 17 sectors. The consciousness began to pulse with rage and desperation. If we cannot rule, then nothing will remain. Reality around them began to twist as the massive being used its power to unravel the very fabric of space-time. Walls became impossible shapes, gravity flowed in circles, and time moved backward and forward randomly. It's trying to collapse this entire dimension, Engineer Seokjin Han reported from his monitoring station. If Nexus Prime is destroyed, the viral propagation will stop. But humanity had faced impossible odds before. As the dimensional city began to tear itself apart, the human strike team did what they did best. They adapted. All teams converge. On the crystal matrix, Minho ordered. Protect Dr. Yang at all costs. What followed was the strangest battle in human history. Soldiers fought through corridors where the floor was sometimes the ceiling. Marines used gravity as a weapon, redirecting the consciousness's own reality warping attacks back at it. Engineers repaired equipment that existed in 4 dimensions, while under fire from weapons that shot crystallized thought. General Young-Ho Lim, who had arrived with the final wave of reinforcements, led his troops in a desperate charge through a corridor where time flowed backward. For every world they burned, he shouted as his soldiers advanced. For everyone they enslaved. The synthetic warriors from the AI collective proved especially effective in the chaotic environment. Their digital minds could process the constantly changing laws of physics faster than biological brains. Consciousness manifestation weakening, reported one of the synthetic soldiers. Its ability to maintain dimensional coherence is failing as the crystal network degrades. Dr. Cheyoung-an was monitoring the spreading effects of the virus from her position in normal space-time. The cascade is accelerating. Crystal matrices are failing across the entire galaxy, but the hegemony consciousness made one final desperate attempt to stop them. It began to merge itself directly with the main crystal matrix, turning the entire structure into a weapon of unimaginable power. Dr. Yang, get away from there, Minho shouted as the crystal matrix began to glow with lethal energy. Can't stop. Now, Bora replied. 5 more minutes and the virus will be irreversible. The consciousness spoke one last time, its voice now coming from the crystal matrix itself. If you will not bow, then you will burn with us. Energy erupted from the matrix like a miniature star. The dimensional city began to collapse as reality itself broke down. Human soldiers found themselves scattered across multiple dimensions, fighting battles that existed in spaces between spaces, but they held. Against impossible odds, with reality collapsing around them, the human strike team and their allies held their ground. Virus propagation complete, Dr. Bora Yang announced as the crystal matrix finally went dark. The network is down, all hegemony. Crystal technology is failing. The effect was immediate and galaxy-wide. On thousands of worlds, the crystal matrices that had enslaved entire civilizations went dark. Species that had served the hegemony for millennia suddenly found themselves free to think their own thoughts. The hegemony consciousness let out a sound like the death of stars as it began to fragment. The collective mind that had ruled the galaxy broke apart into its component beings, each one confused and terrified as they experienced individual consciousness for the first time in eons. What? What have we done? One of the former hegemony lords whispered as the crystal enhancements fell away from its body. You've lived, Captain Minho Kim replied. For the first time in 50,000 years, you're actually alive. As Nexus Prime collapsed around them, the human strike team began their evacuation. The dimensional city was tearing itself apart, but they had completed their mission. The galaxy was free. All teams, fall back to the extraction point, Minho ordered. We're done here. Back in normal space, Admiral Ji-hoon Park received the signal he had been waiting for. Across the galaxy, Hegemony fleets were going dark as their crystal-powered ships lost power. Ancient weapons fell silent. Orbital fortresses drifted powerless in space. "Sir," Commander Nari Park reported with tears in her eyes, "it's over. The hegemony is finished." But victory came with a price. Of the 12 ships that had entered the dimensional gate, only 7 made it back. Captain Minho Kim's ship was among them, carrying the survivors of humanity's greatest gamble. Commander Taehyung Choi had not survived. He had sacrificed himself to ensure the virus.